All right, tell us about this survey that's obviously being used to push more LGBT garbage.
Well, this is something that we had discovered that they've been doing it, but we finally got a chance to get ahead of it. So what happens is this. This is a survey that they give children who are already brainwashed. This is a after-school club. It's called Gleason. They renamed themselves Gliston, but it doesn't matter. It's just a transgender cult grooming club. And so what they do is that they give these surveys to children who are already brainwashed. Then they take this tiny little survey and then they blow it up into schools and they tell parents, there's so much transphobia. There's so much hate. There's so much bullying. We need more training, more diversity inclusion. We need more transgender representation. We need more anti-bullying, more be kind policies, which brings in more transgender ideology. Then they have more kids go to the club and then they rinse and repeat. Then they take that information and then they go to the state house and try to change laws and policies even in red states. So this kind of data might not seem very sexy as, let's say, if you're catching a teacher or school counselors, but this is the bloodline that these transgender cultists use, including teachers and school counselors, principals, and school boards.
Okay, I want to ask you something because, I mean, these numbers are always so unbelievably overblown when it comes to representation of trans community. And I saw this article just a few weeks ago that in California, and this is one of those places where being non-binary and gender fluid and all of that is extremely trendy. But among 16-year-olds, the age of eligibility for a driver's license when they can start recording this data, the numbers of 16-year-olds actually and 17-year-olds who identify as non-binary has declined from 418 to 203 between 2024 and 2025. So that tells me that not only is it not trendy anymore, but even in places like California, it's not trendy anymore.
Well, this is beautiful. This is the beautiful nature of adolescence. You have a natural inclination to have counterculture. And so what happens is the Democrats are now the old fuddy-duddies. They're the boring party. They're the ones that are driving the pronouns. And now you've got these middle school, especially the boys. A lot of that is coming from the boys. They're pushing that back because it still impacts girls, the transgender cult, unfortunately, more than boys. But the point is, whether there's boys or girls, it's a natural inclination to push back on it because now you've got these woke white mothers and these teachers and these suburban mothers pushing it and these women pushing it. And it's not cool. And these kids know it's not cool. And they're sick of it. They're sick of it's so insufferable, and they're sick of it. And so it's good to see that, but it doesn't stop the schools from using this fraudulent data. And it's fraudulent. That's a very important word there. It's fraudulent because they're asking the kids who are already brainwashed, and the data always comes back. They're all going to kill themselves unless we do X. And X is always getting parents to stand down, always getting parents to give more and to bow to the transgender cult.
Okay, so I was going to ask you what policies it is they are pushing. I don't know if it's to have more school programs for these kids or what policies are they pushing?
More representation, hiring more transgender lunatics because they need to represent. They need to see people that look like them. So definitely a lot more hiring, a lot more books. Although all the pornography and stuff that your show has covered quite a bit in the schools, more of that, more flags, more days to celebrate, just more propaganda, try to fill that culture of school. Not that the culture is already not almost completely 100% saturated, but any little area they want to saturate it more. But the biggest policy is mental health. Pushing for more school counselors, more one-on-one, more money to mental health, more money for anti-bullying programs, which brings in more transgender ideology, more training for teachers and school counselors, more professional development, bringing in more of the Glistens and the Trevor Projects, Human Rights Campaign, Planned Parenthood, just more of that. So the policies are bringing more of these NGOs into your children's culture.
Do parents not see that when they encourage this in their children, they are pushing them towards a harder life?
Well, I think most parents see that. What we find is that the great majority of the parents pushing the children towards this lifelong medical, basically being a lifelong medical patient, like you said, is just a harder life, are mostly suburban woke white mothers and then some weak fathers. Like you don't very rarely see like a Japanese mother saying, here's my trans child, or a South African mother, or a Chinese mother, or a Korean mother. Is always one demographic, and there's something very
Right.
broken about that segment of the population that makes up for like 90% of the trans kids, you know?
We call them awfuls, affluent, white, female, urban liberals, and they're the ones that it seems like really, really drive this.